Hey everybody, Randall Cornett here. Hope you guys are having a great weekend. Wanted to make a quick update video for you guys. Some interesting stuff that I thought you would be interested in, as well as kind of prepping us for the week. So that being said, we will jump right into it. We are looking at an article from Barron's right now, and it's an article on Gary Gensler, who's the chairman of the SEC, and kind of what he's focusing on. He's going to be taking a look at obviously SPACs and retail trading apps. There's one part that's particularly interesting. It says Gensler has not specified what exactly the SEC will change about the current dynamic in the market, but he has repeatedly said that zero commission trading at online brokerages has costs that aren't obvious. It's not free. So they're obviously going to be taking a look at that. He says newer apps such as Robinhood and Webull, as well as more established brokers like Charles Schwab, route customer orders to market makers to execute the trades. Those market makers profit off the difference between the bid and the ask and send a portion of the profit back to the broker, also known as payment for order flow. Gensler thinks his costs of these deals are hidden from customers and create conflicts of interest. So this payment for order flow deal, it also applies to the dark pools and everything that we're seeing and these market makers profiting from routing orders there as well. In the article, they actually talk a little bit about dark pools. So it says Gensler also seemed concerned that so many orders are now routed to dark pools instead of more regulated and transparent venues like the New York Stock Exchange or NASDAQ. This segmentation matters to us and the public, he said. Matt Colkin is a lawyer who advises clients on regulatory issues, said in an interview earlier this month that he thinks Gensler will try to change the market dynamics that now govern how retail orders are routed. An increasing proportion of trading is occurring in dark pools, and a small group of firms has an outsized role in that process. So he's saying that, hey, a small group controls a large portion of what's going on there. So very interesting to see. That being said, if we want to look at Friday's data, we're looking at the dark pool trade statistics for Friday, and there was 34 million volume in the dark pool alone. That accounted for 55.7% of the volume that traded on Friday. Something that's kind of interesting that I thought you guys would get a kick out of. This is from a user on Reddit named Nobjos, and he used a Twitter API to build this. But basically, it's the top mentions according to Twitter and like what the sentiment is. So AMC sitting at number 2 with near 4,300 mentions. And what's interesting about this is sentiment is 21.3%, so it's not completely bullish. And the stock actually took a negative 9% hit. Out of the 10 stocks that are listed on here, only 3 of them had negative price action. AMC, GameStop, Clean Energy Fuels, and BlackBerry. The rest all had positive price action. So it leads me to believe that even though with the good sentiment and a lot of traction, at least social traction, the price still went down, which is we're obviously fighting against, some larger parties, which I think we all already kind of knew. But this is just a little bit more on a granular level what the social interactions are kind of telling us. And I think it's kind of weird that we would have such a high mention rate and the price would still go down. And our sentiment is still pretty strong. It's bullish. So interesting to think about. Now, moving on, Deputy Global Treasurer Michael Kirklander resigns from Citadel. Michael Kirklander is a Deputy Global Treasurer of Citadel Securities, has resigned after 4 years with the hedge fund. He is now the CFO at Pagaya. Now, what I have read about CFOs and stuff, it's not really a good thing when you have somebody like a treasurer step down from your company. It says Citadel has been losing billions of dollars since the rise of retail investors in the AMC and GameStop saga. For this reason, the community can speculate Citadel Securities is a sinking ship. And let's talk about what some of his duties are. From October of 2017 to June of 2021, Michael Kirklander was known as Citadel Securities Deputy Global Treasurer. Prior to working with Citadel, he spent 17 of his years of his life managing director at Goldman Sachs. Basically, as Deputy Global Treasurer, his roles include verifying financial risks to investments, assessing the institution's liquidity, organizing and approving budgets for financial projects, and ensure the financial health of the institution. So when the guy that manages all of these things is stepping down, I think it's kind of telling of what the health of the company is looking like. Now, this is all speculation. We don't have any real proof, but I'd assume it's nothing related to health or anything like that, being the guy has already got another job. So curious to see maybe perhaps if this is, if we're right in our inclinations thinking that, hey, this is a sinking ship and maybe he's getting out before this all implodes. At this point, again, it's all speculation, but interesting to see nonetheless. So now we've talked about dark pools. We talked about what the volume was yesterday. I want to show you guys the actual larger prints historically for the month. So we'll go back all the way to June 1st, which you'll see here on this right side. Now, this chart that I have to the left is also the dark pool volume versus the price action. So you could see, there's not much activity below $10. As soon as we got above $10 in the price, we seen it there was a big spike there. It's hard to tell what the intentions are of these buyers and sellers. But as we cross 30, you could see it's just bar after bar. It's just tons of volume going on in the dark pool, which is pretty unique. Like, we already knew that there's a shitload of stuff going on here, but you could see right over this $30 point, there was some massive increase in volume. So now looking back historically at the, alerts that have been triggered for darker purchases through June, let's look at some of these. And this is all dark pool stuff. And I have made a couple videos on this, looking at this from June on. We'll see some pretty big numbers. You could see, on the 28th, so May 28th, obviously is a 900,000 block, $30 million. What are some of the other big ones? 10 million on the second. There is 18 million on the second, 369,000 shares. Let's take a look. This isn't a dark pool block, but this is a VWAP trade, 1.9 million shares, $100 million that was traded off exchange on the second. $18 million block purchase. Another $79 million VWAP purchase, so off exchange. $40 million off exchange. $29 million dark block purchase. 20 million, so 438,000 shares, 569,000 shares. I mean, the list goes on and on, guys, when it comes to the dark pool stuff. 14 million, 18 million, 12 million, 11 million. And now if we want to go back up, let's just look at the 25th on. So where my mouse is above, look at all the dark pool purchases that went through yesterday. This is just on the 25th, so on Friday. 6.5 million, 6 million, 8.9 million, 7.1 million, 6.3, 6.3. At least top three actually look like they were duplicated. Really kind of weird. But so we had 8 million, 6 million, 6.5, 7.1. That's all on the 25th. Really crazy stuff, guys. What they're doing in the dark pool right now, and you guys have seen, I've covered this in a lot of different videos. I'm hoping that what we're reading with the Gary Gensler stuff, that there's going to be some real work put in to shed some transparency and light in what's going on in here. I don't think that the dark pools will ever go away, but I think they need to be reworked in a way that, there's no delayed reporting. You can't really manipulate the purchases. I think that there's got to be some more granular approach that's like dynamic. We can see what's kind of going on, even if that means that it could affect, the prices of the stock, because at the end of the day, if what these guys are doing in the dark pool affects the price and it affects the price, I think that we as normal investors maybe don't have access to these things should be able to see that. That being said, though, it's pretty unique, and I wanted to give you guys just a quick little weekend update on kind of a weekend review in terms of the dark, or a month in review, I guess, in terms of the dark pool data. I expect that you guys are kind of aware of already what's going on, because there's a lot more light getting shed on this. So with that being said, we'll pretty much end the video here. I hope that you guys enjoy the rest of your weekend, and I will catch you guys again tomorrow with some news that comes out tomorrow. That being said, I love you guys a long time, and I will catch you on the flip side. Peace.